Everybody, it is December 4th, 2007. I am Sonic Sons, and I'm doing a video called Is House Resolution 1955/Senate Bill 1959 really that dangerous? This bill, which is the two different numbers for the House Representatives and the Senate, is a bill passed, or in consideration that is, passed by the House, in the American Congress, and it's called the Violent Radicalization and Homegrown Terrorism Prevention Act, or given those aforementioned numbers. Now, a lot of people have recently been freaking out about this. Now, let me say as a general point, I do believe that the administration has stepped on our civil liberties too much. I think extraordinary rendition is terrible and torture is terrible, and I'll do videos on these things as they come soon enough. But I'm looking at this thing right now that's just been on Dig these last few days. It's all over the place. And there's a newstarget.com, Senate Bill 1959 to criminalize thoughts, blogs, books, and free speech across America. Oh, crap. And he starts off his article with, the end of free speech in America has arrived at our doorstep. It's a new law called the Violent Radicalization and Homegrown Terrorism Prevention Act. And it's worded in a clever way that could allow the U.S. government to arrest and incarcerate any individual who speaks out against the Bush administration. Well, that sounds scary. Also from Philip Giraldi, writing a very long thing in the Huffington Post about this sort of bill. CNET, Congress anti-extremist bill targets online thought crime. Thought crime being the idea that they could throw you in jail just because you were thinking the wrong thing. And from justanothercoverup.com, by the way guys, your name is justanothercoverup.com. It really makes you sound like a conspiracy theorist. But I had an article up called Today is Critical and We Must Join In to Kill Senate Bill 1959. Okay, so apparently this bill that's going to destroy America and destroy free speech and destroy all this stuff, and I can see how people get freaked out about these things, because, hey, you know, we've taken several steps in the wrong direction. I don't particularly think America's about to collapse. A lot of people bring up this, like, it's just exactly like Nazi Germany. I'm like, right, that's why Keith Olbermann is still on the air. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, Olbermann's still on, Jon Stewart, except for the writer's strike, but he's generally still on. You know, and various critics, and I just saw a thing on CNN, and they're like, you know, intelligence shows that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. In fact, it hasn't had them for 5 years or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that is information damaging to the president. What is with this theory of yours that, you know, everything's about to collapse? Okay, but I read this particular act, right? I went to govtrack.us, and they've got the exact text of the bill here. This is the 1955. I don't know if the Senate bill is slightly different or what, but I have to imagine it's pretty much the same thing, right? Because they sent him the bill. Anyway, the summary thing I'm looking at here is it's supposed to amend the Homeland Security Act of 2002 to add provisions concerning the prevention of homegrown terrorism, yada yada. They're going to establish a grant program. They're going to establish or designate a university-based center for excellence in the study of radicalization and homegrown terrorism in the United States, and they're going to conduct a survey of methodologies implemented by... Wait a minute, okay, let's look at this bill here. What does it do? It establishes a commission. Okay, what does the commission do? Well, they get to study terrorism, homegrown terrorism, make some reports on that, designate a university-based center for excellence for the study of radicalization and homegrown terrorism in the United States. What is it with long titles in these people? They establish like a center where people talk about this, and they conduct a survey of methodologies. I'm sorry, I believe the bill here was criminalize thoughts, blogs, books, and free speech across America. Unless the Senate bill is very much different from this one. I'm looking at this thing, right? I've actually read the whole thing, but I have to admit at certain points you have to start skimming. But it's really not that long. So they define, you know, commission. Is this commission they're establishing later on in the bill? Okay. Violent radicalization. The term violent radicalization means the process of adopting or promoting an extremist belief system for the purpose of facilitating ideologically based violence to advance political, religious, or social change. In other words, violent radicalization is when you use violence to change things. Okay, now the line here, criminalize thoughts, blogs, books, and free speech. It doesn't say that. It says violence. It says the other one, it targets online thought crime. No, it says it targets violence. Homegrown terrorism means the use, planned use, or threatened use of force or violence by a group of individual born, raised, or based in operating primarily within the United States or in possession of the United States to intimidate or coerce the United States government, civil population of the United States, or any segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objectives. In other words, homegrown terrorism. Use, planned use, threatened use of force or violence. I saw this one on the website. I wish I had that other website right here. I think I saw it on Dig. But I mean, it actually quoted that. You know, homegrown terrorism is the use, planned use, or threatened use of force or violence. Like, force or violence? Oh my gosh! They've just outlawed all books that, you know, disregard, or that diss the president somehow. That's what the guy said. I wish I had that link. And I looked up, I'm like, yeah, you just quoted it. It says force or violence. And he says in the article, like, you know, with the way Washington is defining things now, force could be interpreted to mean, and he lists this whole laundry list of things. And it was all like, you know, could be interpreted to mean a peaceful protest, or a campaign to send letters to Congress, or, you know, someone who just doesn't like Bush and writes about it on his blog, or, you know, all these things are criminalized. I'm like, criminalized? It says here force or violence. I'm pretty sure that involves, you know, bloodshed. There's nothing in here about books. I think there's ideologically based violence, which again uses the phrase force or violence. Nothing else. Nothing else. It goes on to, like, I'm just going to scroll through this whole dang bill, and, you know, the findings by Congress in Section 899B, and they're talking about, you know, I mean, here's one reference to media. It could be like, the Internet has aided in facilitating violent radicalization, ideologically based violence, and the homegrown terrorism process in the United States by providing access to broad and constant streams of terrorist-related propaganda to United States citizens. That is in the findings section. So they find that there is terrorist propaganda on the Internet. Well, there is. I mean, here and there. You're not going to find it on the front page of Dig, but, like, yeah, terrorists use the Internet. It's not like, you know, terrorist propaganda, including CNN. Like, oh crap, or including Keith Olbermann. Oh crap, you know, that would be something. But what, just the fact that there is propaganda on the Internet? I'm pretty sure that's true. Heck, they even avoid racism. They say individuals prone to violent radicalization, homegrown terrorism, and ideologically based violence, yay, synonyms, span all races, ethnicities, and religious beliefs, and individuals should not be targeted based solely on race, ethnicity, or religion. Okay. So they're explicitly stating they're not to be racist about this. And here's nice. In Section 899B, Clause 8, any measure taken to prevent violent radicalization, homegrown terrorism, and ideologically based violence and homegrown terrorism. You said homegrown terrorism twice. Anyway, any measure taken to prevent yada 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 in the United States should not violate the constitutional rights, civil rights, or civil liberties of United States citizens or lawful permanent residents. Now, it's kind of hard to say this is the bill that's going to take away our civil rights when there's a section in the bill, or there's a clause in the bill that specifically says you can't take away civil rights with this bill. Like,